let's have a look at some of the entries. On the men's side, there are 57 entrants from 28 nations. So that's 45 entries and 24 nations on the women's side. But just a couple of athletes in this field have broken 60 minutes, but 12 have broken 62 minutes. It promises to be a very competitive race, in no small part because there are no pacemakers. That always changes things dramatically. The athletes will have to make up their own minds as to the tempo they move at. And it could be a slow, meandering affair. We don't know.
Representing Norway, it's Geday and Kibra.
Now let's have a look at these athletes. That's Kibra of Norway. Great range. 7th in Barcelona back in middle of February in a personal best of 60.46. He will be tough to beat. The great track race as well. Geday of Ireland. He's a real danger. Fast track 10,000 just 2 weeks ago in the USA. 27.26. Watch the Irishman in green. Mayo of Spain, the 6th fastest European all time. He too, the Spaniard, a very, very fast track runner, but his form questionable. Only a cross-country race so far this year. Perhaps the favourite, Jimmy Gressier of France. He's a 59.46 performer, the 12th fastest ever in Europe. He's a sub-60-minute performer, the complete runner, great on the track, on the roads, and the country is Gracier. And then the local man, he could be a threat for a medal. The Belgian Simon de Bonny, 61.02 performer, but in very good form. His personal best was just 5 weeks ago. So a little bit of shade for these athletes. It gets much warmer later on in the day. It's due to be about 23, 25 degrees centigrade this afternoon, but quite nice temperatures now, I think, Helen. This is racer friendly for the next couple of hours. Yeah. So just 45 men, the cream of Europe at the half marathon this morning. We'll get this race underway. There's Jimmy Gressier, easy to spot in that French blue, dark glasses. Just a third from left there on the lineup as you look at them. Gracier has great speed. He's a 3:33 1500 metre man. He's got a wonderful range. He's got everything up his sleeve. As Gracier, he is the favourite. Away they go then. The women, as Ellen said, get on the way in 30 seconds time. It is a relatively small field. We're used to seeing such massive fields get underway. I commentated on the Berlin half marathon last Sunday, just 6 days ago, and some athletes here raced there, and there were massive fields in Berlin, around 40,000 in the Berlin half marathon last Sunday.
Jimmy Gressier very quickly to the front.
Yeah, it's an undulating course. None of these courses are super fast for the 10K or the marathon coming tomorrow, but all for this half marathon this morning. But it does look as though they've gone off at a pretty healthy click, because Gracier moving to the front, Geday of Ireland there in the green, straight into second place, and Kibra of Norway in the white vest there in 4th place. And these four running single file. I don't know if that means there's a slight breeze in their faces, but they are to the fore very, very quickly with only a minute or two on the clock as that mass field gets underway. Different waves in the mass field.
Yeah, absolutely, as you'd expect from any mass participation event. We do have different waves, and these the faster club runners, and like we said, plenty who have represented their nations as well amongst this field. Speaking to some of the teams, we know they have athletes who haven't made it into the elite fields, who are going in this second wave now of athletes.
Well, Jimmy Gressier laying out his stall very, very clearly early on. 2:50 per kilometre is 60-minute pace, 2:50.5 if you want the bits and pieces. So we're not expecting anything like 60 minutes on this course this morning, or sub-60. I'd have thought a winning time in the 61, 62 minute range would be pretty solid, although he has gone out aggressively. Gracier here will bring the splits as quickly as we can for these men. But Gracier from Geday, who is definitely one of the favourites. Geday, the Irishman, he ran 27.26 in San Juan Capistrano in California just a couple of weeks ago. That's a fabulous time. He lives in Dublin, former Eritrean. But he's had 3 races this year as Geday in the green there in second place. 2 of them were Irish national records. He has been in supreme form, and he will be tough to shake off. So Gracier looks like he's prepared to do this the hard way.
Yeah, absolutely. He's taken it out and certainly split the field already. Geday, though, as you say, Tim, such an exciting talent, and really one of the faces of the resurgence of athletics and Irish athletics. It's really excellent to see, and smashing national records. The national record that he set on the track, as you rightly say, just over a month ago, that took down a record that had stood since 2007, and that is what he's been doing over the course of the last 12 months or so, a really healthy collection now of Irish records of his own.
Well, we've got 4.5 minutes on the clock. They're approaching the 2 kilometre point. They're heading pretty much due north through the first half of this race. It's a very, very elongated clockwise route, if you can imagine, athletics track stretching from north to south, but stretched out over about 10 kilometres. And these men with about 1,500 metres behind them, 4:45 on the clock by my reckoning from the start gun. And Geday testing them here. Gondouin, by the way, is the other Frenchman there in the blue. Gondouin is one of the favourites, the fastest this year in 2025. Gondouin has run 60:17. That was back in Seville in January when he was third. And Gondouin, he's a good track racer. 13:14 for 5,000, 27:41 for 10,000. And I always like to see athletes have that complete portfolio of ability. You know, great on the track, on the roads and the country. I love the complete runner. And you think back to the greats of this sport, Gebre Selassie and Paul Turgat and many, many others indeed. Kenenisa Bekele. They tick all those boxes.
Jimmy Gressier taking it out incredibly fast already.
Well, these twists and turns aren't ideal for optimal performance, but they're actually relatively gentle corners. I don't think it'll slow them a great deal. And then once they get out of the city centre, then it does start straightening out into more user-friendly long stretches. Carlos Mayo of Spain is amongst the favourites. He's a doctor from Madrid, by the way, in that orange vest left of picture. 12th in the Olympic 10,000 in Tokyo back in 2021. He too, like so many of this field, has got a great range. He's a 3:36 performer at 1,500 metres. That's worth about 3:53 for the mile, 27:25 for 10,000. But he hasn't been able to go with this early pace, and Gondouin has dropped back already. I mean, goodness me, 7.5 minutes on the clock. You've got Gracier, Geday and Kibra. And Gondouin's dropped back pretty quickly, Ellen, in 4th place. He's about 15 metres back. And Gracier on this little upslope, really testing these guys. Looks like he wants the gap early.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just a second half marathon. When you look at the personal best and you look at the times, only 2 men under 60 minutes. Carlos Mayo, one of them, and Jimmy Gressier, the other. Both setting their personal best in 2023. And that's exactly what we've come to expect from Jimmy Gressier, haven't we? Started his sporting love with football, and he really is a true entertainer when it comes to geeing up the crowds. And considering he's already torn this field apart, as now Kibra is dropping back, still having the energy to try and encourage the crowds to give him something back. This is certainly a statement of intent from the Frenchman.
It's a Saturday morning. It's almost 10:10 here in Leuven, and Gracier creating the gaps. There he is, bottom of picture, leading Geday. About 25 metres down is Kibra, and then there's a bigger gap back to Gondouin. So really early on, I mean, 3K on the clock, look, bottom left of your screen, and Gracier tearing them apart, as you say, Ellen, quite rightly. The rest of them just appearing over that hill right of picture. Yeah,
and you can see Carlos Mayo and Mayo even in that orange singlet as Gracier looking over his shoulder, and I think that speaks to the experience that Mayo has. He didn't want to go with the early pace, but it has now. He has collected some of the athletes who have dropped off, and he's dragging forward this field who didn't immediately go with the spurt of Gracier, as those, including Kibra, now drop back.
Well, there's Kibra of Norway. Geday is in 2nd place. But Jimmy Gressier testing Geday here, and that Geday, the Irishman, is trying desperately to hang on to the coattails of the Frenchman, but he's trying to get this gap very early, is Jimmy Gressier. destroy the field early, psychologically as much as physically, and then he can cruise the second half of the race, or the last 3 quarters, I should say, because this is so early. 10 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned that psychological aspect, Tim. I think it's so important through the first 3K up that climb, the most significant climb on the course. He's waving to the crowd, he's geeing them up, he's taking a look over his shoulder, and he is the one who's driving forward. He's so good at that psychological warfare side of things.
These 3 together again. I don't know if Gracier's eased off or if those 2 have put in extra work. Geday of Ireland, Kibra of Norway. But listen, Jimmy Gressier in the blue there, it's hard to get across just what an incredible runner he is. He's run 26.58 for 10,000 metres on the track. That was when he was 13th in Paris at the Olympic Games. It was an incredible performance, but unfortunately for Jimmy Gressier, who is only 27, he was up against the very best of the Africans, and that was a superb run from him. He set a national record with that 26.58 for the French in Paris, but finished 13th. He has that great range. We know he's got great speed, enormous strength. A lot of people will be anticipating his marathon debut, of course. But Gracier here hasn't yet got that gap that he wanted. I thought he was establishing it 5 minutes ago, but they're back with him, and he might be a little annoyed by that after 4K.
Yeah, I think the next kilometre or so, as he takes another look over his shoulder, it'll be interesting to see whether this is a decision that Gracier has made, whether he thinks he would work better with 2 others around him. Of course, still very early stages of this race as they come through.
Well, if
4
he's
kilometre mark.
Yeah, I mean, at 4K, in a couple of minutes we'll know just how well he's going, because at 5, they have had that big hill to negotiate. But if he's around 14.20 at 5,000 metres, then he will be on about 60-minute tempo, and I think that's probably asking too much. More likely to be about 14.30, something like that. Look at the gap behind those leading 3 men. Bottom of your screen, there is a gap. Wow! Back to 4th place, and that pack there, they negotiate that right-hand turn. It's probably 150 metres, maybe more, 200 metres, about 30 seconds, I'd say.
And that's psychologically a challenge for these chasing athletes as well, because they can't see the front 3 and they don't know the gap that they're currently trying to close.
Back to this men's group, I should say group. It was a group, now it's just 2 of them, and it looks like Geday of Ireland in the green, back in 3rd, is struggling a little bit here as they hit the side of the canal there, the Vaart, which links Leuven with Mechelen, about 20 kilometres north, and then even further north up to Antwerp, about 40 or 50 kilometres away. But they just kiss the canal there very briefly for about 100 metres, then take a left away from it, continuing in a generally northerly direction. But Gracier is experienced enough, I think, Ellen, to know that this will come. The reward for this hard work will eventually come. When you front run in a race, you've got to be patient. You know you're hurting people behind you if you're pushing hard from the front, and it's just a matter of time. And you've got to have faith that you will eventually drop them.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. We saw him just swerve to one side there, and he said to Kibra, he signalled to him saying, you do some of the work now. He's kind of weaned out the field. You can't go with him. Taking a look to the side, seeing that there's still one man there, and he's like, well, if you're going to ride off me, we're going to have to do this together now, or I will kick again. And so he's invited Kibra now to have a run on the front. As we can see, this is the group that's been collected behind. And I can't see Carlos Mayo, the other sub-60 runner in this field. I wonder whether that's him there plodding along, tucked in just a bit further back. I think he's down in 6th or 7th at the moment.
3 French in the top 4 at the moment, in the top 5, I should say, at the moment, with Gondouin up there as well. And Augusto of France also at the front of that second pack. Gracier and Kibra out in front. And yeah, Geday has definitely had to let go. That's a gap about 30 or 40 metres back to the Irishman with what on the clock? About 15 minutes on the clock, just under 15 minutes on the clock. We'll bring you that 5K split as quickly as we can. Well, according to our time, at 13:52 at 5K, I find that hard to believe. 13:52, I mean, no, there it is, it's official. Wow! Jimmy Gressier has gone out so aggressively, 13:52. Well, that is, it's about 58.20 tempo. I mean, that is bonkers fast. It really is crazy fast from Jimmy Gressier. And it's because he's trying to shake off the others. And it explains why there's that gap back to the pack, Ellen. They simply couldn't live with that early tempo. And I wonder whether or not Kibra can live with it much longer. He's never broken 60 minutes. He's only once just gone below close to 61 minutes. His personal best in Barcelona back in February, 60.46. So this is new territory for the Norwegian in white.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see those splits come up, because I was trying to look between the kilometre marker and the time on the clock in the bottom corner, and it wasn't quite corresponding to me, the speed that they were going and how quickly they decimated the field. And so actually to see those 5 kilometre splits come up, certainly a fair bit of validation for the work that Jimmy Gressier is doing here, and what a shot that is. As you can see, the flat plains of the countryside here in Leuven, and just how big the gap that he continues to open up is, as Geday, well, continuing to drop back, and he'll find himself, and has done very quickly, in no man's land, and this is a really tough place for the Irishman to be.
It is, yeah, because if you are with a pack of athletes, or even a couple of athletes like Geday was tucked in behind these two, and then you have to let go and start losing ground. Here's that second pack, the chasing pack. In effect, Gondoin and Augusto are there for France. They are packing really well. One of the Italians is there as well, Chiappinelli, little figure of Chiappinelli. He's a 60-50 performer from last year. Indeed, just last October in Valencia. He's already run 61.01 in Napoli this year, back on the 23rd of February. That's one of the great Italian half marathons, the Napoli half. Good flat running at this point, although they have negotiated a few lumps and bumps over the first 20 minutes.
They have indeed, and they've got one more to come as well, just later on in the course. Another climb as they come towards the finish line. It's a very straight 600 metres that they'll come through towards the finish line as they go through the streets once again of Leuven, and the first 200 metres of that last 600 metres straight is all uphill.
That's the chasing pack of the men's race, about 8 strong. Gondoin, who is strong, certainly one of the favourites for a medal, the fastest man in Europe this year with that 60 minutes 17 second clocking in Seville back in January. He's running his 5th half marathon here as Gondoin, teammate of Gracier, who leads, has still got the somewhat frustrating presence of the Norwegian Awet and Telem Kibra with him. And Kibra is a great runner too. Don't let's underestimate him. He's the Norwegian there in white in second place. He's a 3:39 1500 guy. He's run 27:45 on the road, the former Eritrean. And last September 17th in Copenhagen in 61:32. Didn't finish the European Championships last year in Rome, mind you, the half marathon there in the Italian capital. Gracier, I think, attacking hard again here. Ellen, it looks very much to me like Gracier's trying to swat back the opponents behind him like flies almost. Get them out of the way, get them out of his mind, and be in isolation. That's what he wants. Yeah,
I completely agree with you there, Tim. We saw the moment clear on the camera when he invited Kibra to come around the outside, do some of the work if he had it in him, and I don't think he's got it there. And I think at that point Gracier just thought very, very wisely, if you're not going to work with me, if you think you're going to hang here, you're not going to hang on my heels, and I'm going to continue to push the pace. And now both of them looking back, but with very different expressions. It's certainly Gracier is looking back and thinking, well, I've managed to absolutely tear through this field, and Kibra looking back and probably thinking, where is Ephraim Geday, and can we work together now to steer clear of the 10 chasers behind?
So Gracier has got the gap that he wanted. Yeah, Jimmy Gressier, 25 minutes on the clock, and he has got that isolation now, I think. And you can see the support here out in these communities. So they've been running for 25 minutes. They're at about 8k. They're still heading up the western side of the course in a northern direction. Sun right behind him in Gracier here. The temperature hasn't built up yet, but look at the support there. He is loving it. There is a man in his element, in wonderful form. When you run 12:54 for 5,000 indoors, you have got so much speed at your legs, cruising along at this sort of speed. You were talking about the confidence of one or two of the female athletes just now. Diana Van Ez, well, Jimmy Gressier, has never been an athlete lacking in confidence. In fact, at the press conference yesterday, he talked about he's got a secret prepared should he win. So he's obviously considering victory, which is confident.
I think I was first introduced to Jimmy Gressier with that knee slide effort a few years ago at the European Cross-Country Championships in one of the junior races. He always exudes personality, confidence, and we talk so much, don't we, as those in athletics, about what we need to do to push the sport forward, and he's exactly what the sport needs.
This man is doing anything but coasting. Here he goes, another sharp turn here for Jimmy Gressier. And I think this might be at the top, the northern corner of the course, where he takes a right-hand turn and he'll run straight for a bit, and then there'll be another right-hand turn as he starts to head south back towards the finish in the city centre. Here is the second placer, Kibra of Norway, and he has definitely dropped now. That gap is probably about 80 metres, probably about 10-12 seconds.
It's nice and day, isn't it, when you look at how both of them are moving. Gracier just gliding and carrying so much pace, where you look at that corner and the way it was cut by Kibra, it just looks to be struggling slightly. You can still see Jimmy Gressier, the lead bikes, and of course the lead car ahead, but certainly that gap, he's not going to be able to bridge it unless now something happens and Jimmy Gressier has completely mispaced this.
Yeah, he's 15 seconds down, 28.05 at 10k for Kibra. That's still fantastic running. Geday a further 12 seconds down. So those three now well separated, and Gracier has been patient. He's had a couple of attacks, and he's now got his reward. And Kibra in second, Geday in third, the Norwegian and Irishman in second and third, and then Gondouin de Bonny of France and Belgium respectively in fourth and fifth. There is a pack, though, just looking, of about 8 guys together in that chasing pack. There it is. Those are the splits at 10k. 27.50. I cannot emphasize how quick that is when he's already negotiated a massive hill in that first 10k from Gracier. He could be heading here, dare I say it, I should probably whisper it, but maybe for a sub-60 clocking. It's fabulous. Really good crowds here. They are loving this. You know, this Leuven is the capital of the Flemish region of Belgium, in the province of Flemish Brabant, and they do love their sport here. There's quite a tradition for distance running in these parts. Great Emil Puttermans was one of the legendary racers from this area. He was a great gardener himself, and you will have noticed the glorious countryside and wonderfully manicured gardens and fields they've been running past, these athletes. That's the view from the second placer, Kibra, back alongside the canal, heading south now. They've made the turn, and the sun in their faces. Remember, and over the first half, the sun was behind them. Now it's in their faces. They head south. But Kibra, it's going to be a tough race for him. Gracier is in control of things. He's running the tempo he wants to run. The psychology is so different to what Gracier is applying here, so to speak. Look at this. He still looks strong, enjoying himself. No signs of stress. The gap back to the Norwegian. You can see there now, extreme right of picture, probably about 100 metres. It was 15 seconds at 10k between Gracier and Kibra. That represents the speed they're moving at, about 85, 90 metres. So he's probably extended that slightly. and he's looking strong, isn't he? He's a little guy too, Jimmy Gressier. I mean, he's got perfect build for running, but he's not tall in stature. He's not one of those big, powerful or long and lean runners. He's small and lean, but doing the job wonderfully.
Continuing to glide. He's not once broken form, has he? Just looks so smooth, so comfortable. Oh, he's completely focused on the clock that will continue to tick ahead of him, the lead car.
And if you've joined us in the last few minutes, you're watching this inaugural edition of the European Running Championships. This is the first day of two. The half marathons today for men and women, elite and masses, and then the 10K and marathon coming tomorrow on Sunday. Both of those starting, the marathon rather, starting in Brussels near the Royal Palace. But conditions today perfect for distance running, although it will get very warm this afternoon. I think these athletes are going to miss the worst of it because it will get up to 23 to 25 degrees centigrade this afternoon. Jimmy Gressier here of France. He was the pre-race favourite. He's led from the gun, put in a couple of surges, broken the opposition, and now leads by, I reckon, about 17 seconds, something like that. And barring disaster, France are going to take gold in this, the first ever gold in the European Running Championships.
Looking very good for them, France, in terms of the team standings as well. It's the top three. It's not the positions that are added together, it's the times. The top three runners from each nation, and looking very good for France in terms of the men's race. And very good for Belgium as well in terms of the women's, although Italy, with their three ahead of the final marker for Belgium as things stand.
It's Geday back in third place, the Irishman running in isolation. Former Eritrean, set a national record for a road 10K back in middle of January in Valencia. He ran 27:43. Now that is quick running. Jimmy Gressier must be approaching 15K now. We know he's on schedule for something a long way below 60 minutes. It's been a fabulously aggressive first half to this race. He got to 10K in 27:50, remember, leading by 15 seconds, the Frenchman from Kibra of Norway. 15K coming up pretty soon from Jimmy Gressier, and if he's to maintain that sort of tempo through to 15K and heading for under 59 minutes, then he'll need to get to 15K in about 43, 45, something like that. No, sort of, excuse me, about 43 minutes. So 15K must be beckoning for Gracier, unless he's eased off a bit this last few minutes, because he knows he's got the gap and he's just settling into a slightly less pressurised rhythm. Still looks comfortable, doesn't he? Haven't seen him glance back once, have you?
Only when he's been in incredibly confident positions, and that was just more to scope out where the field were, and at no point did it seem fearful, which is what we so regularly see from athletes when they take that look over the shoulder. This was just seemed very relaxed, and certainly in terms of what he's doing, it's mirroring that, whereas the looks behind from those around him were more fearful and certainly out of a slight bit of panic maybe.
Gondouin, that number 1 is his race bib number, by the way. Slightly misleading, that caption. It makes it look like he's in the lead. But no, he's isolated, though, and this is brave running from the Frenchman. Remember, Gracier, his teammate, leads. And by the way, Gracier at 15K, 42.07, had a 40-second lead, massive lead over Kibra. He has kept the pressure up. The time came up pretty late, actually, a long time after we'd gone through it. But anyway, Geday in third is a long way behind Kibra. He's isolated, but he might get chased down here by Gondouin. Gondouin here in fourth place. Isolated himself now, but running hard and really chasing well is the French number 2. He's the fastest man in the field this year, and he's having a fabulous run, Ellen.
Yeah, indeed. And when you look a little bit further back as well, France have all three of their runners currently in the top 6. So it's really hard at the moment to see the team title going any way other than France. And look at this, Tim, the gap now between Ephraim Geday, who's hugging one side of the road, or Gondouin on the other. It's certainly, when you look at the styles there as well, the waving of the arms side to side from Geday, a slight wince there from the Frenchman behind, a gritting of the teeth, but it'll be interesting to see what he does when he bridges this gap.
Great to have a target, though, like that for Gondouin. He's chasing. He's got the bit between his teeth. Geday is suffering. He went out too hard. He followed this man, Gracier, through the first 5-7 kilometres, tried to hang with him, and frankly, I think, went beyond the red line, went into the red zone, and is now suffering Geday in the second half of this race. And Gondouin is moving through. Possibly the French could get 2 individual medals here if Gondouin can catch Geday from 4th to 3rd. Here is Gracier. Now that time, by the way, 42.07 at 15k. Well, that is quite supreme. I'm just going to go to my chart and see what it represents. Jimmy Gressier, 50.46, I got him at 18k, and I'm just checking that split and what it would mean for halfway. It would mean around 59.20, 59.25 for Jimmy Gressier. He has dominated this race. It took him a little while to clear out and get away from those who persistently tucked in behind him. But Gracier now heading back downtown of Leuven, heading towards the city centre, still heading south. Glorious architecture in parts of this city centre. But Gracier has produced a masterclass of half marathon running here today. 51 minutes on the clock. I reckon he's got about 8 minutes of running to go, maybe slightly less. He has destroyed this field and underlined really the form he's shown this last couple of years. And also, Ellen, you know, this is probably the last race before these fellas start thinking about really serious track training. They'll head off to altitude now, warm weather training maybe, in case it starts raining or getting colder here in Europe, still in mid-April. But for Jimmy Gressier, this is kind of the stamp of approval on a great winter's work.
Oh, absolutely. And you talk about the heading into the track season, we're all expectant of what will be, once again, another excellent summer. But for Jimmy Gressier and so many of these elite athletes out on the course, just look at how much he's enjoying it. He's soaking up every single moment, and it is a brilliant statement to exactly why these championships are needed and why it is so great to give road running the platform that it deserves, as we see the mass start runners over this half marathon distance, over 10,000 competing today. It really is superb to see so many of the different flecks of colours as they go through some of the spectacular landscape here. These are the flat and fast parts of the course, and Jimmy Gressier soaking up every single cheer, every single roar from the crowd. He's cheering them on, and he's really reaping the rewards here. He is such an entertainer, and this has been a brilliant watch. And he's done all the hard work now. He can really enjoy this these final couple of kilometres.
Well, he passed 18k some while ago. That marker at the bottom, 17.9 kilometres, that's for the women, because Gracier passed 18k 3 or 4 minutes ago. And he is flying. Got to be on slightly tired legs now, but still bouncing along well. Here's the man in second place. He's run a brave Kibra. At 15k, however, he was 40 seconds down. He too, like Geday, suffering. And you can see back there, top right of your picture, that Gondouin of France has caught Geday of Ireland. Those two battling away for the bronze medal. Kibra at the moment, with 53.5 minutes on the clock, has probably got about 7 minutes of running to go. He could be caught if this battle erupts anymore and these two start chasing, accelerating and closing down on the Norwegian. And Gondouin here, working really hard. And you can see Geday of Ireland, who's now in 4th place, trying desperately to hang on to the coattails of the Frenchman. Geday was in 3rd, he's now in 4th, but Gondouin, who caught him very impressively, had to work hard to close that gap to catch the Irishman. And I guess if Geday is thinking on his feet now, he realises that Gondouin is tired, but you've got to admire Gondouin's effort.
You have to. He's working hard, of course, for himself. He's working hard for the French team, who will no doubt take top spot now on terms of the team standings. He's seen his teammate ahead, and now this is certainly a game of cat and mouse. You look at these two looking over the shoulders, each of them. Gondouin looking to one side, that little burst of pace, but it is being matched by Geday.
Gondouin just having a little breather, I think, after that long surge to catch Geday. Maybe he'll rally and move away in the last kilometre or so. But here is Jimmy Gressier. He's not at 18.4 kilometres. Believe me, he's more likely at about 19.4, 19 and a half kilometres, because he has been flying through these last few kilometres. He's maintained his tempo so well through the second half. 10k was in 27.50. What's his split going to be at 20k? I wonder. He's surely heading for some 50-second clocking, because now the course is relatively flat through the city centre.
Well, this is just the remains of what Jimmy Gressier has left behind. He took it out so hard and so fast from the very beginning. You can't say it was expected at all. The fastest, one of the two fastest in the field, one of only two men to go under 60 minutes. And he's taken out these inaugural European running championships and entertained. He's delivered. Now one final sharp uphill for him, as he'll head towards the closing finishing straight, and the battle still raging for the medal positions behind, as Geday desperately trying to grab and missing a few of the water cups there.
Gondouin grabbing a cup of water there, wasn't interested in drinking it, just threw it over his head. There's the brewery, the Anheuser-Busch InBev brewery, there where they make Stella Artois, which a few of you will be familiar with. It's a somewhat delicious amber nectar that I suspect we might be sampling later on this afternoon. And the temperature's due to be 25 degrees in a couple of hours here in Leuven, in central Belgium. Here's that battle for the bronze medal. The Irishman Geday up against Gondouin of France. Now, that was a little worrying. Gondouin there having a look over his shoulder. I wonder if he's out on his feet, or if he's got the energy to push on and beat the Irishman. This man's got the energy, there's no doubt about that. Jimmy Gressier here has been quite remarkable. We know he's got a fabulous range on the track. We know he's a great cross-country runner. And we know now for sure that he's got championship gold medal winning ability on the roads as well. Jimmy Gressier now, heading towards the finish line. 58.14 on the clock for Jimmy Gressier. He is flying through the streets of Leuven here. He raises his game. He's a great track racer, a great 1500 metre runner. He has the cadence, he has the leg speed, the ability to get quicker and quicker in the latter stages of races. And this from Jimmy Gressier will be one of the quickest times in the world this year. It's been quite magnificent, the speed at which he's covered these last few kilometres. What sort of time can he produce here, Jimmy Gressier? Will it be a personal best? It stands at the moment at 59.46. I think he is heading for a personal best here, Jimmy Gressier. Jimmy Gressier approaches the finish line now, here in the south of the city centre in Leuven. The crowds are massive here. I'm astonished at the number of Leuven populace that have come out. He grabs the tricolour, he celebrates it. He's not interested in a personal best, he's not interested in the time. You see it bottom right of the screen, it will be sub 60, but Gracier is the champion in the inaugural European Running Championships half marathon for men. He's winning time unofficially 59.46. Quite astonishing from Jimmy Gressier. If that is the case, it's equal his lifetime best. He wasn't interested in that. He's the winner. He's a championship racer extraordinaire. Fabulous from Gracier. And I tell you what, he doesn't look that extended.
Well, the inaugural European running champion, and what a victory from Jimmy Gressier. And I was slightly worried. He was signalling with his hand. We could tell that he was going to try and hurdle the tape, and thankfully they got it low enough, quick enough. But you can see just how happy he is. Immediately over to celebrate with his family, pick up the French flag, and talk to the many supporters who have made the journey over the border from France. It's a very, very strong French team, and now the wait is on to see whether they can get two on the podium.
Second place then, it is Kibra of Norway. He's worked so hard for this as the Norwegian 29-year-old. Former Eritrean, since July 2022, he has proudly been a Norwegian citizen and raced for them so well. Didn't finish the European Championships in Rome last year, but a silver medal today from Kibra is fabulous running. And this, the battle for the bronze. Geday against Gondouin. Not far to go now, this final right-hand turn and then into the finishing straight. And it has been a hard battle these two have created over the last few kilometres. Gondouin kicks away, picks his moment perfectly. Geday hasn't given up, although he did have a look over his shoulder. And look at Gondouin, he's got the confidence here to come to the line and take a bronze for France. 1 and 3 for France, the Norwegians separating them. Geday finishes in 4th place. A brilliant run from the Irishman as well. Wow. And the time, well, around 62 minutes flat there for Gondouin. We'll confirm these times for you, of course. The winning time for Gracier is confirmed at 59.45. It's extraordinarily quick for a far from perfect course. Fabulous packing from their fans. There's Jimmy Gressier. That is maybe what he was alluding to at the press conference yesterday. He said, I've got something in store. It's rather special should I win the race. Well, it seems to me like he knew perfectly well he was going to win the race on that sort of form. Wow. And that was the second place at Kibra of Norway. I went Naftalem Kibra, the 29-year-old. 7th in Barcelona back in February in 60.46. Today his time in second place, 61.08. Only just over 20 seconds outside his lifetime best. And boy, oh boy, Gondouin of France taking 3rd place. What a run. There it is, confirmation of the top 10 in the men's race. Jimmy Gressier takes gold for France. European record, it says there. I'm not sure about that. It's not a European record. That belongs to Julian Wanders back in 2019. Wanders running 59.13. Championship record, maybe. Kibra of Norway, 61.08. Gondouin of France, the bronze medal, 61.54 behind his silver. And Efrem Geday, the unlucky man, in 4th place there for Ireland. Great packing from the Spanish. Look at that, 7th, 8th, 9th. Blanco Mayo Guerra. Fantastic packing from them.
Hi, I'm Carlos Mayo. Sign up now to the European Athletics YouTube channel.